Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zeev. I am a makeup obsessed college student and I live in North Carolina, which is on the East Coast in the US. And like I said, I'm a college student. And I really, started this channel to have fun and to talk about makeup. It's something I really enjoy doing and something I really love, and I hope you guys love it too, and that's why you're here, or you just like my face, that's cool too. But if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. And if you aren't new here, welcome back. And so today's video, we are going to do a full face of my least expensive makeup. So the least expensive piece of makeup that I have in that category. So like my least expensive primer and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then at the end, I'll give you a total for how much my face costed. I'm not going to include brushes and things like that, mainly because I don't have that many drugstore brushes. I have Morphe brushes, but I don't know if you would count that as drugstore. So today I'm just going to use whatever brushes. I do have an e.l.f., I think it's called a Flawless face sponge, something like that, which you can get at Ulta, Target, Walgreens, all those places. So this is affordable. The rest of my brushes are not going to be. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pin back my hair. I feel like a child. Anyways, we are going to start with primer. So the first primer I'm going to use is my absolute least expensive primer in my collection. And this is the Hard Candy Hydrating Primer. It's a dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. So I'm just going to put this all over my face. Okay, so I have applied the Hard Candy Primer. Now next, I like to do two primers generally. So like a hydrating or a gripping one, and then a pore filling one. So this step is definitely optional. It is more expensive than the Hard Candy one, but in my opinion it's worth it. And that is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. So today we're doing definitely more of a not luminous look. I'm not saying it's matte, it's just not luminous. So that's why I'm going in with the regular Poreless Putty Primer and not the luminous one, because the luminous one literally has a glow. So I'm just putting this kind of in my everywhere. But mainly, where my pores are the largest. And I'm just gonna blend that in. So now that that's all blended in, I'm gonna do my brows. I want to let these two primers kind of just sink into my skin so that I don't feel it as much. And then we'll go in with concealer and foundation and things like that. So the cheapest one, or the most inexpensive one in my collection, is the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. And I have the shade Neutral Brown. So I'm going to fill in my brows and then I'll be right back. All right, so brows are done. Next, I'm going to hop into the eyes, and we are going to use the concealer that I'll be using later in the video on my eyelids, just because the only eye primer I have is the MAC Paint Pot, which is $20-something, and I don't want to use it in my least expensive makeup video. So I'm going to use my concealer. Okay, so I've primed my eyes with the concealer, and now we're gonna go into eyeshadow. So my least expensive eyeshadow palette is this one right here. This is the Nearly Nude eyeshadow palette by Believe Beauty. You can get Believe Beauty at Dollar General. Let me show you what this looks like. This is what the palette looks like. Hello. So it's really pretty, very light. So I'm going to go into this shade right here and very lightly put it all over my in my crease. I'm going to use a really small brush just because I don't want a lot of pigment because it's such a deep shade and I don't really have like a transition shade to go with it. So I'm going to use a an e.l.f. crease brush and just kind of slowly but surely blend it into my crease. And if I need to, I'm going to take this top one right here to blend it out. So I just blended the deep brown right here into my crease. As you could tell, I didn't have to use this shade at all to blend it out. It blended really well by itself. So now I'm just going to put a shimmer on the lid. This looks going to be pretty simple just because 4 out of these 6 shades are shimmers. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then this is really light. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with this shade on my lid, and I'm going to use a brush and see what happens. And then I might have to spray my brush, or I may have to use my finger. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to try it with a dry brush, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so that's the shimmer using a wet brush. But I'm going to take my e.l.f. crease brush and I'm just going to blend the edge between the shimmer and the matte. So that's the most I'm going to do on the eyes right now. We're going to move on to the face and then we'll finish the eyes after we powder and things like that. Everything Believe Beauty is $5 or under, so I mean, I love it. They have a really good foundation and I like their eyeshadow palettes, and that's the only... Oh, and they have little single eyeshadows that are really good too. They're super pretty. So those are the only things I've tried from them, but Paige Corin here on YouTube uses their stuff all the time and she loves them. She likes their highlighters, their face palettes, their lip glosses. So highly recommend checking out Dollar General and Believe Beauty. So next we're going to go into the face after I fix my hair because it's driving me crazy. Crazy? Okay, whatever. That's not cute, but... Ugh. Okay, I took the clip out because I felt like a child with it in. So we're just going to do that and move on. So I'm going to start with concealer. And the concealer we're going to use is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. And I have the shade Fair Warm. So I'm going to take this under my eyes. This is a bit warm for me. I am more of a cool undertone. But because I'm putting it on under my foundation, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. So I'm just going to blend that out and be right back. Okay, so that's the concealer on. And next we're going to do foundation. So for foundation, the cheapest one, I keep saying cheapest, but it feels wrong to say cheap because they're not cheap products. They're just inexpensive. So if you hear me say cheap, I don't mean they're bad quality or anything like that. I just mean that they're cheap. So I said cheap, didn't I? I just mean that they're inexpensive. So just keep that in mind. These aren't bad products. I really enjoy most of these products, so I highly recommend them, even if they are the least expensive in my collection. So the least expensive foundation in my collection is the original Photo Focus foundation. As you can see, I have this shade Shell Ivory. So this is, if you haven't seen this foundation, this has a paddle on it, if you can see that. So I'm going to paddle some product on my face and blend it out with a brush. So this is what my skin looks like with the foundation. So I did put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I went in with my sponge, just dabbed it into the product on my hand and used it to kind of make sure that I have the finish of a sponge but the coverage of a brush. So I'm gonna get in real nice and close so you can see my skin. This area is always problematic, but I don't really pay attention to it too much. That's what my skin looks like. My nose looks okay. You can see my under eyes are creasing because I haven't set them yet, which is what we're gonna do next. So the next thing I'm gonna do is set my face, and the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder in shade 05 is the least expensive powder in my collection, and I'm just going to tap some out into the cap and set my face. All right, so I went ahead and set set my entire face, and now we're gonna jump back into brows, and then we'll finish off the eyes. So for brows, my least expensive brow pencil is the e.l.f. Wow Brow, and I have the shade Neutral Brown, so it matches the eye pencil. I'm just going to brush this through my brows. So I just spoolied the brow gel through my brows. As you can see, I made a couple oopsies. Nobody's perfect. So I'm just gonna take a spoolie and just kind of comb through where I made the oopsies. And I'm also going to just comb through my brows and kind of put them where I want them, so that the brow gel sets them how I like them. So that is the brows done. I think they look pretty good. I already have pretty full brows, so nothing too special, just a little bit of pencil and a little bit of gel. So let's finish off the eyes. So again, I'm going to take the Believe Beauty palette, again $5 for this at Dollar General, and I'm gonna open it. Maybe there we go. And I'm gonna take this shade, and I'm just gonna buff it out on my lower lash line with a pretty small dense brush. You see that? Pretty small, pretty dense, just getting that pigment right at my lower lash line. And I'm going to make sure to tap off the brush. I don't want too much pigment. All right, so I just buffed that out on the lower lash line. I'm now going to take another brush, and I'm going to go into this light shade right here, and I'm going to blend out this lower lash line so that it's not so dark. I blended out my lower lash line, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to put it in my inner corner and on my brow bone. So I'm going to take a really small brush and just pack this shade on. Okay, so I went ahead and added that shade into the inner corner and brow bone. And next I'm going to apply eyeliner. So the liquid liner that I own that is the least expensive in my collection is the Maybelline Hyper Easy. So I'm just going to do a line. I'm not going to do a wing or anything like that. So I'm just going to line and I'll be right back. So I applied my liner. I did do that accidentally. So I'm just going to ignore it. And maybe once it's dry, I'll try to like spoolie it off or something. I don't know how to get off like messed up eyeliner. Like I could do it with mascara, but not eyeliner. So moving on, I'm going to take the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Swerve. So this is the black. These are, and I'm going to tightline my upper waterline. I just broke it. Anyways, we're going to tightline my upper waterline. Okay, so I went ahead and tightlined my upper waterline. Now I'm going to do my lower waterline. And I'm going to take the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Honeydude, which is their nude. And I'm going to line my waterline like I just said. Sometimes I get a little transfer from the black in my upper waterline, so I like to clean that off before I go ahead and go in with this. So that's what I just did. Real quick. Alright, so I went ahead and applied that lower waterline eyeliner. And next we're going to go in with mascara. So the least expensive mascara in my collection is the Maybelline Colossal. This is what the wand looks like. And I'm going to use this on my top and bottom lash line. So I'm going to attempt to do my bottom with this. Because I didn't want to pick another mascara because that would be like another step for you guys. So we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna attempt. Okay, so I went ahead and did the upper and lower lashes on this eye so we could do a bit of a before and after. So I'm going to look up. I'm going to look even more so you can see my lashes. I don't really think this mascara did much for me, but I'm going to do the other side because it's the cheapest mascara in my collection. But I wouldn't recommend spending $7 on this. Alright, so that's the mascara done on both eyes. I did 2 coats. So again, I'm just going to show you up close so you can see. I do not like this mascara at all. Do not recommend, no matter how inexpensive it is. I do not like that mascara. So now that the eyes are done, let's move on to the face. I'm going to start with bronzer. So for bronzer, I have 2 because they're the exact same price. So I was going to show you both and then just pick one. So I have the Milani Silky Matte Bronzing Powder, and this is in the shade Sunlight 01. And then I have the Maybelline City Bronzer, and I have the shade 200. The shade 100 in the City Bronzer formula is so light, like way too light for me. And I'm like the same color as my t-shirt. Like, do you understand? Like, it's so light. So that's why I have the shade 200 in this one. But today I'm going to use the Milani, and I'm just going to bronze my face. Alright, so I went ahead and bronzed the skin. So for blush, I have the same situation. I have two blushes that are the same price, and they are $2.99. And that is the Essence The Blush. And I have two shades of these. And then I have 40 Beloved, which looks like this, more pinky. And then I have 10 Befitting, which is more mauve-y. And then I have the Wet n Wild color icon blushes. These are also $2.99. And I have the shade Pinch Me Pink, which, let me show you. Can you see the shimmer it has? So that one is like pink with a shimmer. And then I have also Wet n Wild color icon blush in the shade Mellow Wine, which looks, yeah, like this. So a nice mauve-y, kind of rosy shade. So now I have to decide which one I want to use. Let's go Essence, and let's do 10 Befitting, which looks like this. This is the kind of mauve cool toned one. I just feel like it's the prettiest in my opinion. That's what that looks like. And I'll show you it next to 40 Beloved. So this is 40 Beloved. You can see that pink undertone versus this is definitely more rosy mauve. And this is like more neutral. And this is very pink. So this is 40, this is 10. Beloved, Befitting. So we're gonna go in with Befitting, and we're just going to blush up the cheeks. So I blushed up the cheeks. I think I did a little too much, so I'm going to take my powder brush and I'm just going to sweep over both the blush and the bronzer and just kind of melt it in. I can't tell if that did anything. But, so that's the blush and bronzer. So now I'm going to set my face before we do highlighter, just because I feel very powdery. So I want to set my face, bring a little life back in, and then we'll do highlighter, and then we'll move on to the lips. So for setting spray, we have the Catrice Prime and Fine Multi-Talent Fixing Spray. And this is the least expensive setting spray in my collection. Y'all, that mist is so strong. Holy moly. I'm going to use my handy fan to dry my face. Okay, so set the face and dry it off a little bit because that mist is intense. So now let's go into highlighter. So for highlighter, I have the e.l.f. Baked Highlighter in the shade Moonlight Pearls. So this is what it looks like. Let me open the cap. And there we go. That's what we look like. You could see the baked texture just from the oval shape. Not an absolute favorite of mine, but you'll see in a second. So I'm just going to apply this all over my face. All right, so that's the highlighter on. So you can see it a little bit on my nose. I think you can see it on my cheeks, but honestly, I can't see the screen to check if you could see it, but y'all will let me know down below what you think. So now let's go ahead and move on to the lips. So I'm going to wipe off all of this foundation lips, and then we will get started. Let's go ahead into lips. For lip pencil, the least expensive one in my collection is the Essence Soft Contouring Lip Liner, and I have the shade Big Proposal 08. So I'm going to line my lips with this, and then we'll move on to the other lip products. Alright, so that's the lip liner on. I don't know if you could tell, it's very similar to my lip color. It's just a little more rosy, so that's it right there. It's a very pretty lip liner. The formula is a little bit dry. I'm more of like a MAC lip liner kind of person, but I do enjoy it, and it's only $2.50, so worth it? Probably. So now we'll do lipstick. So I went through both my lipstick and my liquid lipsticks to see which one was the formula that I had the least expensive, and it was this one. So this is the Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Lip Color, and this is in the shade 110 Blush. See that? So I'm going to apply this all over the lips. So that's the lipstick on the liquid lip. It's very comfortable. I'm going to swatch the shade next to the lip liner so we can see the similarities. It's a little more rosy, I think you can tell, but I think it looks okay. So last I'm going to put on a gloss, and then we'll do a little bit more setting spray, and this is the NYX Butter Gloss, and this is in the shade Tiramisu. With this, most of my glosses are either high-end or like Lunar Beauty. That's pretty, like, I have like higher end, I have Kylie, I have Marc Jacobs, I have Bobbi Brown, and then I have Lunar Beauty, and then I have a little bit of Colourpop, and then I have this. So I don't have a lot of drugstore lip glosses. If you have any recommendations, leave them down below, and I will pick some up and try them out, and I'll let you guys know what I think. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with this gloss. I'm just going to put this all over, I think, just to give my lips some dimension. Alright, so that's the lips with the butter gloss on. You can see it just, you know, made them a little more, I guess juicy is the word you would call it. But I really like it. It's comfortable, not too sticky or anything like that. This is a really good formula. I really enjoy it. So I highly recommend, and for $5, totally worth it. So last but not least, I'm going to set the face one more time, and then we'll be done. So again, I'm using the Catrice Prime and Fine Multi-Talent Fixing Spray. And I'm going to use my handy fan to dry my face. Alright, so that is us done. Let me take this out of my hair and try to fix it a little bit. And here we go. Not much of a straight anymore, but whatever. So that is the least expensive makeup in my collection, full face of it. The total for my full face is $110.98. So stay tuned for the full face of most expensive makeup in my collection, and we will see the difference in totals between that full face and this one now. So I'm just going to kind of get up close so you can see. I think it looks really good. You know, I don't know that there's a product in here that I don't like. The mister on the Catrice setting spray is a little aggressive. And the highlighter's not a favorite of mine. But other than that, I really enjoy. Oh, and I didn't like the mascara. Do not recommend. Other than that, that is everything for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, like, comment. Let me know what you want to see next. Don't forget to subscribe to my Instagram right here. It's also linked down below. And have a good rest of the day and rest of whatever day it is at the time that I'm posting this, because I have no idea. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.